Music matters.
Music does matter. Hey,
what's up, bro?
How we doing, man?
I'm good, brother.
It's kind of surreal that we started. I kind of didn't expect us to start, but now we're starting. So, hey, what's up, man? How we doing?
You're the first person to ever start a podcast with a clap that isn't me.
Hell yeah.
In fact, like that. Ever. Not even just this podcast. I'm the only one to ever sync audio with my hands.
I'm syncing audio. I'm syncing ships. You dig what I'm saying? Like we're in sync. You dig what I'm saying? Like we're here.
In sync, baby.
We're in sync.
You and me.
In sync with the Backstreet Boys. You know.
No, I'm excited for this one. Partially because I love you very much, and you're a great friend of mine. And then simultaneously, I feel like, I guess you would technically be the first like A&R like solely that's been on this podcast. Damn. Which is an honor because you're probably my favorite A&R. I'd say, but I don't know. I think like I have this tendency, and I think it comes from 114 interviews of like listening to musicians talk about issues they've had in the music industry, or like, you know, the good, the bad, what they've learned, what they haven't learned, the mistakes they've made, the mistakes they haven't made. I've got a lot of perspectives, and like it's very interesting, and I think it bred me in this fashion where like I was very cynical of just like the music industry and like traditional industry in general. Like
that's fair. That's really fair.
Like the further I got into it, and I think there's been a lot of people that have like changed my perspective on that. You definitely being one of them.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, of course. But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like I generally like often approach like traditional music industry figures as like almost as if like they're larger than life, in the sense of like they exist in this traditional industry structure, and that like makes them like part of like a bad system, you know?
Yeah, totally.
And it's strange. I don't know. Like I feel like I've always had these like weird misconceptions. So like, what do you think? The first thing I want to ask you, what do you think like are the biggest misconceptions about being an A&R in general? Like from people not only in the industry but outside of the industry.
Yeah, I think the one that kind of comes to mind immediately is that like I feel like people always assume the label's the bad guy, as if like labels and A&Rs don't want artists to succeed. Like whenever an artist does something or releases something that people don't like, one of the first things I see is, oh, their label's doing that, their label's doing that. Motherfucker, I'm probably getting to make the song that you want to fucking hear. Honestly, it's like, I mean, it's not always that butting heads with artists, but you know, I think the common misconception is that it's like the labels are always the bad guy. Yeah. And I don't think that that's necessarily always false or always true. I think everything is case by case. The reality is, this goes for a lot of things in life, but the reality is like no one's gonna ever know the exact specifics of a situation unless they're involved with it. So I mean, like that's a really big one. Honestly, I see fans just kind of vilifying A&Rs and labels and all this stuff, and it's like, damn, bro, I want them to succeed too, you know? So,
yeah. Well, it's an easy scapegoat. I think like it's a really you can almost like they can be a punching bag in a lot of ways. Yeah, like you can just say like it was all my label,
and like you never see labels reply to that shit. You know what I'm saying? I always think it's so funny. You never see A&Rs or labels punching back.
They kind of can't, right?
I don't even know that. I've never been told, hey, you can't do that, but it's like it's not professional, really. You know what I'm saying? But it's also just like it's kind of like if you know, like we're not sitting here trying to impress like Twitter A&Rs, armchair A&Rs. You know what I'm saying? It's like Monday morning quarterbacks. It's like you know, okay, cool, but like who's actually in the league, has played the game? Everyone has an opinion, is what I'm saying. Sometimes they're right though. You know what I'm saying? It's never, like I said, it's really just case by case. Some are true, some are false, but that's probably the biggest one, honestly.
I just had like an interesting thought come to me, and it's almost like, and not to compare these two things at all, obviously, but like, you know, certain like certain kinds of discrimination often stem from people not knowing people that exist within that class or like that, you know, whatever, that group. So therefore, we just like jump to conclusions about what we've heard. And I do think the same can be said about professions. Like I don't think like, if you've never met A&Rs, I never had a conversation with one, like it's very, very easy to just assume that like generally they're bad people. Yeah. You know?
I'm not gonna say that. I mean, there's some people that definitely like only care about the money, and like they don't care what they sign, what the music sounds like. Oh, it's making me money, great, you know, and like that's just kind of that's not how I'm living in this world. But you know, that's the cool thing about it, is that there's a lot of spaces in the industry for any type of business you want to do. I just choose to do a different kind of business than that. So
yeah, totally. And I feel like it begins too with like questioning the difference between like the music industry and then like music, because they're very, very, very different things.
Very different things, of course.
I really feel like you have, and I'd be interested to get your take on this. I feel like it's, unless you're inside of it and like living day to day, it's really, really, really hard to actually understand like the things that happen in the music industry. Like it does feel like, to a degree, like I don't know if it's gatekept intentionally, but like you can't really, like, it's very difficult to learn about it without living inside of it.
Yeah, and I mean, even living inside of it, right? Like I've been in situations, you know, at a bunch of different situations before I was at a label, when I was at a label, whatever, where it's like I wanted to learn, and like for one reason or another, like I couldn't, and like, you know, it's not that I felt like I was being gatekept, but it's just like there isn't a lot of resources, you know what I'm saying? You go on Google, it's a lot of anecdotes. Maybe you go on Reddit, you can find it, but it's like, I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, like I've thought about it. You know, at the same time, I'm not the most experienced A&R in the world, so I don't feel like I have the authority to do it necessarily. But I feel like if there was more communication between music companies and musicians and their teams, or like just a way to people to find knowledge and do things the right way, because I've seen people kind of be taught one thing that they feel is like the industry standard, and like, oh no, you're trying to get a producer to sign a work for hire for like $500 for 3 songs, and like they don't get any royalties or publishing, and it's like that's what you were taught, so you don't know. There's no real resources for that. There's no like, you know, music industry university type shit. Oh, I guess there is actually. You can't take music industry classes, but that's not always an easy thing to do. It's expensive. And you did that shit?
It's terrible.
Oh, dude, see, I dropped out of community college. I don't know shit about
that's
shit.
What I did too. I took music industry classes. Dude, yeah, I mean, I took, like, granted, I took music industry, like community college classes, but it was just like I learned like I remember like specifically learning for like 2 weeks like what a master was. Yeah. And I was like, this concept can be explained in like a minute and 30 seconds. I was like, but like it was crazy to me. And I don't know, like it is one of those industries where like, because I mean this is me, like this is anecdotally, personally speaking, like I thought I understood the music industry, or at least like to a degree, and then I moved to LA and I was like, holy shit, I didn't know anything that actually goes on, you know?
You know, that's the funny thing about it, is that it's like we're always all going to be students, you know what I'm saying, in life and in the music industry and everything. Like I talk about that a lot, because it's like, just because you've been in the music industry 15, 20, 30 fucking years, it's like the reality is it's not the same as it was last year, as it was 5 years ago. So, you know, I always encourage, you know, myself and everyone that I can, just to like, you know, always be a student and like, you know, keep that fanhood, because like really that's what like drives you through stuff, is like being a fan, because there's a lot of days that'll grind you to the fucking bone, and it's like all you really have is, oh, I just love this shit, you know what I'm saying? So
how do you think you keep that? Like, because like, I mean, as somebody who works in music too, like it is really difficult to remain a fan when you're around it every single day, and it starts to feel like not a commodity, but it doesn't have that like larger than life allure, you know, as it did when you were like 18 in your bedroom, just like finding random records that you were like obsessed with. So, like I've had to like, I think, kind of rediscover that lore in a lot of ways. How do you like remain a fan when this shit's your life every single day?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's tough. Like, dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, there was a time where I was working with an artist, and it was just a headache. It was really early in my career. This kid was just trouble, and he just didn't want to work with us. And it's like, I didn't listen to music for fun anymore, like for like a week, and that like really affected me. And it was just like, damn, man, like, that's tough. Like, what the fuck? So I had to find ways to like remove myself, because I'm the type of person that's like, if I'm in, I'm all in. I'm straight up like balls deep and stuff. I can't not be. It's on or off for me. And it's like, you know, I will give of myself so much more than like what is really asked me for my job, just because I care a lot about the artist and like what I'm doing is so I mean, you got to set boundaries. That's really important, is setting boundaries and making sure you're taking care of yourself and your mental health. And you know, not just early in my career, later in my career too, it's like I got lost in that, and like I wasn't taking care of myself and my mental health, and it's like I really had to kind of rediscover myself. And you know, sometimes life forces you to rediscover yourself. You can get kicked in the mouth, you know what I'm saying? And you know, I just you got to spend time kicking back, you know what I'm saying? And so kicking life back in the mouth is, okay, well, I'm gonna make sure that I'm making time for myself, and I'm setting aside time for work, but also to relax and take time off and like do that stuff. It's very important. You know, the world glorifies this like workhorse lifestyle. Oh, I work weekends, holidays, you can call me 24/7. You can't call me 24/7. You can't. There's very few people that can call me 24/7 and they know who they are. That's it. You know what I'm saying? It's like I have boundaries because of that stuff. And even then, you know, those people that can call me anytime, they know not to, and that's why they have that ability with 100%. Me. So I mean, you know, I think it's about making sure that you're taking care of yourself and not losing that in the midst of everything. It's really easy to lose yourself in the big picture, but sometimes you got to zoom in and just take care of yourself, you know,
dude. It's you're so right, and it's so strange because we literally like fetishize it, like I don't. There's like this strange sub pocket of the internet that has just like turned like I don't know if it's like either masculinity or it's like just like a grind set or it's just
people
like
have this like weird. It's like a weird pissing contest. Everyone wants to feel more accomplished, cooler, better. It's like what we see on Instagram. It's like everyone's like portraying a life. Not everyone, but a lot of people on Instagram are like portraying a life that they don't really live just to come off a certain way. And really that kind of feeds into that too, you know what I'm saying? It's like everyone wants to, not everyone, but I think a lot of humans have like a nature in them that wants them to be competitive, that wants to be the best, the alpha, the whatever it is. And it's like, dude, I'm just trying to like post up and have fun, like, and enjoy myself and like do some cool shit with artists that I believe in, with the team that I believe in. And so, you know, like that's just, you know, I work very hard to not lose that fan first mindset. And it's like, that also goes back to not just getting all caught up in the business, dude. Like I talk about it at every artist meeting I have. It's like, it's important for me and the company that I'm with to really, in general, just be fans first and treat artists like people and not products. Like that's the most important thing, bro, because like at the end of the day, this artist could God forbid lose someone close to them, could just have a really bad day, could have mental health issues. I've dealt with an artist that was an amazing, incredible artist, and he had mental health issues, and it's like I couldn't just be like, all right, we'll go handle that shit on your own and clock back in tomorrow, you know? It's like, nah, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? Anyone who's dealt with that or has someone close to them that's dealt with that, it's complicated. And you know, I did my best to look out for them and stuff, but it's like there's a lot of other people in the music industry that would have just like cut them loose, done all this stuff. And like for me, I worked very hard until the bitter end of like he just wanted to step back from music and do all that stuff. And, you know, he's doing better now, but it's like there's a lot of people that would have tried to force his hand. And like for me, in that situation, in every situation, I try and meet the artist where they're at and not where I want them to be. And that's the reality of it, bro. It's like we're all people, we're all humans at the end of the day. We have bad days, you know what I'm saying? It's like I am gonna go farther with an artist if I can treat them like a person and I keep that humanity about myself, because that's what's really important. And that's how you also build a great relationship with your artist and have good trust in them. That's really 100%. Important, you know what I'm saying? It's not the Hef show, it's the artist show. And so I try and just fit into that and supplement that and just try and make a difference where I can, you know what I'm saying? But
100%. I remember when Mac passed away, there was a lot of debates about like, and this is, I'd be interested to ask you this, like zooming out, because I remember when he passed away, there was a lot of debates about like, at what point should either, you know, management / his label get involved, and either, I don't know to what degree they get involved, or if they should get involved, or if they shouldn't. But I remember hearing a lot of people discussing like, should his label, you know, be paying for him to get help with his substance abuse issues? Should they not be funding him? Like, at what point does... And I almost feel like that's almost not an A&R question. That's like a label question, or like even like a management question. Because like I do think that like it is interesting. Like as an A&R, you definitely develop a personal relationship with your artists, but not really in the same way as a manager does. So I'd ask like, how close do you want to be to your artist? How close do you feel like you can be to your artist? And then in general, zooming out a little bit. Sorry, there's like 9 questions in one. What do you think like? In situations like that, does a label have a responsibility as the breadwinner, technically the people who are funding their endeavors, to step in and provide resources or help or stop funding them?
You know, it's interesting, and I think this is a conversation that's been being picked up more and more as far as labels and label partnerships and stuff. And it's like the whole label deal structure relationship with artists is changing in a big way. I think it has been changing, but I think really this next year is going to see even more changes. And I think a lot of that is because artists deal with really real mental health problems, and it's like that's something that I see situationally. You know, certain A&Rs or like labels or whatever, they'll really step in and stuff. Every experience I've had, for the most part, as far as things I've heard about other artists, I'm not going to name any artists, but it's just like people rally behind them. And I think that's really important. Now, it comes down to it's a fine line, I guess, right? But you know, but I'll talk about what I would do in that situation. I have had people that it's like I gotta go above and beyond what an A&R typically would, but I really fucking care about this person, so I'm going to do that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's not just like a random thing, just like, oh, I'm your A&R, so I'm going to fucking tell you what. That's not it at all. And I think for me, it's like I come from a place of care because I do a friendship on some level, at least. We may not be best friends, but I am friends with every single artist I have ever signed ever to this day. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, all right, that's a lie, not ever. There's one or two that I don't talk to anymore, but it's fine. That first one I mentioned earlier, no, but most of them, it's like I still have a very good relationship with them, whether I work with them still or not, because I developed that with them. And that's what's most important to me, because it's like I'm not just investing in the artist, I'm investing in the person behind that art. And that goes back to what I look for in an artist. People say, what do you look for in an artist? Well, yeah, I want them to make really cool music and be marketable and like be cool and like all this stuff. It's great if they have like a moment or some buzz stuff. What's also really important to me is that they're a good person and like they have a good heart. Like I can't wake up every day and help a supervillain run the fucking world. Like that's not what I'm built for. I'm built to help people. That's what I've always done. I give a fuck. If I wasn't an A&R, I would do something like this in some other field. Just because I've always loved the relationship of music to emotion and like how it can help people and lift people up, and I love that. That's what makes me so in love with music, is that it's so intimate, the relationship between human emotion and sound and music and songs. I mean, like we all have songs that will make us cry, that'll make us laugh, that'll make us happy, make us go even harder in the gym. That is so special to me, and the psychology behind it is so fascinating. And you know,
I wish I knew more about it.
Dude, it's you know, even like working in it, like there's always so much more to learn and know. And like I have like tried to research more like psychology stuff. Like I haven't gone super deep into it, but it's interesting. It's really cool, and I feel like the more I understand human psychology, the better I can be as an A&R.
100%.
Just because, like I said, we're all people, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm not dealing with machines and robots and AI. All this shit. It's like, no, I'm dealing with a human being, and that is what I always try and remind myself of.
And it's so important to too, like I feel like, remember the fact that like you are in a very powerful position. Like you dynamically could change somebody's life.
Yeah, potentially. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I to answer the other part of your question, it's like I don't know. I mean, there's as far as funding an artist, it's like I don't think it's like just because you're funding an artist music and stuff, you're not thinking, oh, they're gonna go spend it all on drugs. You obviously don't want them to do that. I don't think that's something that it's a tough decision for labels to make, and it's like I think some people definitely take that into consideration. Like we don't want that for this person,
for sure,
but it has to come from, you know, it's just a very sticky, complicated thing. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like kind of a moral thing, but at the same time, it's like at the end of the day, every executive that I have worked closely with would not just sit here and just blindly fund someone that is hurting themselves. That is not something that I have seen up front and personal. I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but in my experience, I've never seen that shit. Just because I always, for the most part, and Mayer's got good taste in companies, you know what I'm saying? But no, I mean, I don't know. I just have only ever been a part of teams that they do care. They do show that they care about the person as well as the artist. You know what I'm saying? And
it's confusing too, because like someone, if they, you know, they're struggling with any other issues like that, on one hand, I look at it and I'm like, I feel like cutting them off financially would be the correct move, but other times I'm like, I don't even know if that's the correct move. Like that could really ruin somebody's life even further.
You gotta think about it too. They may be taking care of their family.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
And it's just again, it's a whole sticky thing. It's like that. It's a fine line, man. You know what I'm saying? There's no right answer, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there is a definitive. It's a pretty gray area to me, at least. I don't think it's super black and white. I don't think you can say this is the standard for every situation. I think it's really like, you gotta just kind of peel back the layers in every situation individually.
Well, one thing I think about a lot is like artists, and this is true for like, you know, artists that struggle, and it's also true for artists that like are bad people, but like hurt people hurt, and a lot of hurt people are attracted to art.
Yeah,
I think like that relationship in my head makes a lot of sense, you know, like totally, I think a lot of people, I think I'm one of these, like I don't think pain brought me to art, I think happiness brought me to art. Like I think you know how you were describing like the psychological connection between the way that we feel music, that I think is what like fuels my fascination with this. It's like I'm like the stories behind musicians like are so, it's all I think about. It's like that, and then it's like the way that music makes me feel. I always describe it like there's two ways I describe it. I describe it like in a world where I feel like I can't focus on anything, music is the only thing that I don't have to try to focus on. And then I always say like, to me, music feels like there's colors in it, and the whole rest, you know, in comparison, sometimes the whole rest of the world feels like black and white and dreary. And it's interesting, but there's like, I think a lot of people are drawn to music because of the opposite, like because it's a way to numb pain. And I think when you have an industry with a lot of people who are attracted to it because of that reason, obviously they're hurt people, and obviously hurt people hurt. And I don't know if the right way to fix that issue is by like hurting them more.
Yeah.
It's very, very complicated.
It is very complicated, but yeah. That's why I think it's just like it's important to really get to know people before you sign them.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And not like I'm saying I'm avoiding everyone who has any problems. That's not it.
Of course
but it's just
not,
like I think for me, and I say this to artists too when I meet with them, it's like I'm not gonna do one call with you and like send you an offer. It's very impersonal to me. I don't like that. I think it's insane when companies or
that's
labels
wild.
It's like, hey, here's a deal. We haven't met in person, but like, let me know. And it's like, the fuck, I would never do that.
That feels
this artist that signed that deal. I would never do that shit. I would never do that on either end. I would never sign an artist to that type of deal if that was the situation. I would never send out that deal because it's just so impersonal. It's like, especially when you're getting into business with someone for that long, like, no, I want to really get to know people. You know what I'm saying? And like, I have to wake up every day and try and make them the biggest shit in the world. I want to like that person, you know? So
yeah, exactly. How does that process look though? Like, so from like beginning to end, you know, like from the research, from the discovery, to that process where you're actually in a room with an artist signing a deal. You said like, you know, you have to know them, you have to become friends with them. How does that process look like from beginning to end? Is it always the same or is it different?
No, it's not always the same. I mean, there's definitely some things I do every time. I usually do like a quick intro call myself with the artist manager and the artist or just the artist or whatever.
And this is right after you hear them or you meet them and you get into the music?
So when I first get in touch, I set up an intro call.
Gotcha.
Straight up. Quick one. Hey, here's a little about me. Here's a little bit about the company. I work at Elektra, by the way. It's an amazing company. Shout out everyone over there.
Shout out Elektra.
Tell them a little about myself. Tell them a little about Elektra. And I really try and get to know them and hear more about them and be like, okay, cool, this is great, kind of get a vibe for them and just kind of see where they're at with everything and try and get some unreleased music to share with the team. And then I go back to the team and I usually say, hey, this is this thing, I think it's really cool, blah blah blah.
So the pitch happens after that to the label essentially?
Yeah, and then I try and bring in more people from my team and more people from their team in, or just like do a larger call, and like that kind of starts the beginning of the relationship. I do one call and then I introduce them to more of my team, I meet more of their team, and then we just kind of flesh it out from there. If it's really an urgent thing, we'll fly them out or we'll fly to them, or if they're coming to LA or wherever we're at, we'll meet with them. There's sometimes it's over Zoom and you know, COVID and all this stuff, like there's a lot of deals that got done through the internet, and like that's fine. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing, because also some people are international, they're in the UK, they're in wherever the fuck, you know, so you never know. So yeah, I mean, like it's definitely a little different every time, but for most of the time, that's how everything starts. And you know, I just kind of I tell everyone else, I'm following your lead, you know what I'm saying? It's like I can have any script I want, but at the end of the day, it's like I said, it's not the Hef show, it's the artist show. So I try, and that's also like part of building their trust. I don't try and pressure or rush anyone, because if you try and do that, they're probably gonna be unfucking comfortable, bro.
Of course,
not the vibe at all. So I just try and like, I want to show them that I'm going to be the same person on day 1000 that I am on day 1. And so like that's why I'm just myself, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm not some corporate schmuck, like I'm just Hef, like I'm this really handsome, like husky guy with
beautiful,
like a nice beard that is like really good at this A&R shit. And so no,
he's like incredibly intelligent and like
no, but I mean, it's like I try and be myself always, and like it's taken me this far. It's like, why would I change that? For me, I've been an A&R for 7-8 years now. It's just important to me to be myself, dude. Like I said, it's gotten me this far. Why would I fuck it up? You know?
It really is all you have. It's the only unique thing about
my reputation is everything to me. There's so many, and especially in like, you know, the later on in my career, like I have gotten a lot more accomplished, and I've been able to do a lot more because I've just been myself always, from when I was a music blogger to when I became an A&R to doing everything like that. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I really am appreciative for everyone that's also been solid along the way. But, you know, it's not like an act. It's not like so I can get something from someone else. I do shit without the expectation back. And I hope that by doing enough good in the world, that I'll have enough good come back to me, that I can do enough in my life to be happy and live off this for the rest of my life.
That's beautiful, so, bro.
Trying, man.
What is that? So you said you started as a music blogger, right?
Yeah.
When was that? Like,
jeez, that was like 2012 or 13.
So you found that at, like, how old was that the first thing you did in music?
Yeah, so I was writing for Bleacher Report at the time. I dropped out of community college. I was writing for Bleacher Report.
So you were like, you were 20 or like 19 or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was liking that. I had interned. They were basically, I was between an intern and an employee. I wasn't making money, but I was like a featured columnist. I was basically like kind of working my way up the ranks to become an employee. I was really young and I didn't have a college degree, so like I had to just kind of earn my way, right? So I'm doing that. But
about
like
sports.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so sports was the NFL. I covered some like WWE, the Olympics, but it was mostly NFL. I would be like the lead writer for certain teams, so I'd be covering the beat for them and just all the news and stuff. I did a lot of like draft analytics and stuff like that. I thought I was gonna be a sports journalist for the longest time. That's what I wanted to do. That was my dream. I want to be a chef. And then my mom told me, I'm not going to pay for you to go to culinary school. She said that that's not what she said, but you told me you wouldn't pay for culinary school, so I didn't go to apply to culinary school. So I love you, Mom. It was good. It all worked out for the best, because honestly, I fucking love cooking. So like, had I gone to culinary school, I would have never done any of this. So it really was such a blessing. It really was a help.
Shout out Mom.
And so yeah, shout out Mom and Dad. Shout out everyone. I love you guys.
And Pops.
And so yeah. So anyways, Mom said won't pay for you to go to culinary school. Okay, cool. So I go to college and like I hated it and stuff, and I got into underground rap at that time because Dat Piff obviously was huge, and I was living in my mom.
Who else was popping like at that time that you got into?
Dom Kennedy, Nipsey Hussle. This guy Nestle was the first person I found on Dat Piff. Shout out to Nestle. And he was the first artist that I found that I'd never heard of, that none of my friends knew, that was actually pretty dope.
Wow. Okay.
And like that high of like playing a song just in the background while we were like rolling up or whatever at the table, my friends being like, yo, who is this? This is dope. Like,
I feel that. I feel that. Yeah.
You couldn't imitate that feeling again, dude. Like that was a high like I had never felt, and that sparked everything.
It's so cool.
Then I'm on Dat Piff every day. I started getting into Kendrick Lamar, Schoolboy Q. This is really early on. It was with Habits and Contradictions. That was the first mixtape I really fell in love with by Schoolboy Q.
I didn't even know that existed.
Go on there and listen to Sacrilegious. It's one of my favorite Schoolboy. It's probably my favorite Schoolboy Q song to this day.
Fire.
But yeah, so I was just really into that, and I was throwing parties and shit, and I was like, I loved like playing songs and having people come, oh, what song is this? Oh my gosh. And like I had a really close friend of mine named Matt. He's like my big brother, and he wanted to rap, and I was like, dude, like let me try to manage you. Like I don't know what I'm doing, but like you don't know what you're doing either. So it's like, you're good at rapping, let me try and help you.
And this
like,
is still in Maryland?
It's still in Maryland, yeah. And so I started, I got involved with a couple blogs and shit, and then I worked my way up to like more prestigious blogs. Never got to like Complex, but there was some cool shit, like Potholes in my blog back in the day when that was a thing, Good Music All Day when that was still a thing. But I really made my name in the blog world at Daily Chiefers and at Elevator, and mostly at Daily Chiefers. Shout out to Joey and Brick and everyone over there, because like that was the most fun, cool team I'd ever been a part of when like none of us had shit.
That's
like
so
I was
sick.
Basically homeless at a point, just blogging and shit. I didn't have Wi-Fi, so I had to go to the Safeway to use their Wi-Fi, put up blog posts and shit. And
Safeway?
Like, yeah, I was going to Safeway, like a little cafe and shit. So I went over there. I would do blog posts, and I was living in like a foreclosed on house with my buddy. And yeah, we were just basically squatting in that house and like just like selling weed and just getting by and shit. And like, you know, that was when I was really going full on with the blogging and trying to like manage artists. I didn't know what I was doing, but I always wanted to try it.
Were you still sports writing at this point? Or
no,
you
I stopped doing that shit.
Like music?
Well, it was just like, dude, this is not paying me. You guys are not taking me seriously. My whole motto, and this ended up coming up more in my music career, is that I only do things as long as they make sense, dude. I'm not gonna sit here force myself to do something. It's like, okay, if this doesn't make sense, I'm gonna find my way out of it and find the next chapter, the next book I'm going to, because that's not gonna settle. I'm too old to settle. You know what I'm saying? Even at 21, I was too old to fucking settle, dude. I'm just not into that shit. So yeah, so I quit I quit sports journalism. I got into music blogging. And then I got into like trying to throw shows and stuff, and like especially when I came out here, I was throwing shows with my buddy Drew Green, and like we had so many legendary nights with Young Pinch headlining shows, just packed out shit. Stephen Cannon and Lil Xan, like before they had their huge moment and stuff. Like it was really cool, and like we were just putting shit together, and like Jude trusted me to help like book the right guys, and like he really did so much behind the scenes, and like it was a lot of DIY grassroots shit, from like the blogging to trying to manage artists to trying to throw shows to doing all this stuff. But like I fucking loved it, dude. I was broker than I'd ever been in my fucking life, dude. I mean, when I moved out to California, like
when was that?
That was almost 1 year anniversary, January 31st.
Okay, nice.
Not 1 year, almost 8 year anniversary, January 31st.
And you were 21, 22, 23?
Yeah, it was 2016.
Okay.
So I was 23.
Okay.
And
so this is after like 2 years of doing it in Maryland.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I've been in Maryland for doing this shit and just blogging and shit, and then I have been approached by this guy named Jeff Vaughn, and he was like, hey, like, saw you writing a GMAT. I manage this artist. I think he would fit on the site. It's pretty dope. Let me know if you support. He was cool. I liked this. I supported him, and I posted him a couple times, and I was like the main hip-hop editor or whatever at Good Music All Day. And so Jeff and his counterpart at the time, Matt, shout out to Matt, awesome guy, they're like, hey, like, if you're ever in Los Angeles, like, you can come interview to intern with us. And I was like, I'm out. That's it. I'm moving to California. I didn't tell anyone that.
Where were they working?
It was at APG when it was under Atlantic. And so this was right after Kevin Gates had 2 phones, and really they had just signed Kehlani right before they signed NBA YoungBoy. Yeah, fun fact, I fucking transcribed NBA YoungBoy's whole first mixtape, 38 Baby. And let me tell you, man, that thick ass Southern Baton Rouge drawl on that 16-year-old, that was one of the most difficult things I've done in my entire career. But it was cool. It was formative stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
And so I basically they told me I could interview to intern with them if I was ever out there, and I was like, yeah, I'm moving there. And so at the time,
damn, so you just said, fuck it, I'm gone?
Yeah, that's when I started saving up. So I like locked in for like 3 months. I was selling a lot of weed, and then I was making furniture out of like recycled materials at this shop. Yeah, so like my dad is like a painter, and like that's a cheap way of what he's done with his life, because he's been a painter, a muralist, he's done a photographer. I mean, he's done all this shit.
That's so
cool. But in his like retirement age, he was just kind of like helping around at the shop that he would always go to and stuff. And so they basically had an opening to start making furniture out of like all these wooden pallets and like recycled materials they had. That was their thing. They were totally green, and I was like, sick, cool, whatever. So I was doing that shit, making like $12 an hour. It wasn't shit, but like I had to work part-time 3 to 5 hours a day. It was nothing. It was easy. Yeah. So I supplemented everything together, and I saved up, and about 3 weeks before I moved out to LA, I got robbed by a friend of mine, and that was nuts. You know, I didn't sell weed to strangers. I sold weed to my friends. He pulled up. He came back later in the night because he's like, oh, I want to get some more. Pulled up a machete and all this other stuff. So yeah, and it was a lesson. You know what I'm saying? I was like, dude, like, oh my gosh, like this was like could have been really bad.
Tough world to be in.
And yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so I made sure that I didn't touch that shit anymore. I wasn't selling anything. I straightened up, and 3 weeks later, I moved to California, and I was just like, I'm done. Cool. Done everything, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? That was my sign to just kind of get out. You're moving on to a better part of your life. So anyways, I moved to California. The day after I get here, I go in for my interview with APG, and I crush it. And I basically told him, I was like, listen, man, like, I just moved out here to work in the music industry. I'm gonna work in the music industry. You are the first person that has a chance to hire me here. And I'm just going to tell it to you like this, man. If you don't hire me, I'm going to be kicking your butt for the next 10 years. And like, that was big talk. I ain't going to lie. I wouldn't say that today. Crazy. But I was fucking feeling myself. I was like, bro, I'm going to fucking do this. And I think he liked that. I know he liked that. You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of respect for him. I think he really saw that like fire and passion that I have in me really early. And I really appreciate that because they gave me my first shot. So I interned there for about a year. That's when I moved over to Elevator. I was still doing Daily Achievers, but I started running Elevator's YouTube channel, and I was their editor for a bit. I pieced out of there ultimately, and I was done with the blog game when I went to Alamo, and I was an A&R at Alamo for a couple years.
So you went from APG to Alamo?
Yeah, so I was an intern at APG for a year, and then I got an actual A&R manager job.
Gotcha.
At Alamo. And that was where I spent my first years as an A&R, and that was a lot of learning, for sure. Interesting lessons being learned. Shout out to Tom Moskowitz, really cool guy, was very, very helpful as a boss in a lot of ways, personally and professionally. And he really showed me that like labels aren't just cold businesses. Like he is a person, and for me personally, my personal experience with him was that he actually cared. He would call me when he, knew I was going through something. He would check on me. I really respected that. And the whole team over there was really special at the time, and everyone's going on to do really cool shit. But yeah, so I was there for 2 years. And it was time to have a change of scenery. I had brought in this artist I really wanted to sign. I thought it was a really cool song. At the time, my immediate boss didn't believe in it. That song was called Old Town Road. And so that...
Wait, what?
Yeah, so I brought it. I've told the story a bunch, and I'm not talking shit about anyone, but it's a fun story because it's like, oh, what could have been. But yeah, I was in New York to meet with the team, and was the first one up in the research meeting. And
how old were you? This like 25,
something like that, like 24, 25, whatever. And yeah, I was just like, hey, like I have this country rap parody type song. It's going kind of viral on Twitter. It's not on DSPs. It's just on YouTube. It's like meme cowboy rodeo compilation video. Like, yeah, like, I don't know. It could be a thing. Like it could be a gold record. Little did I know. And long story short, my boss didn't want to play it. He didn't think it was that serious. So I was like, okay. And so, you know, a few weeks later, it was like the biggest song in the world, and I was like, damn. Like,
and then a couple years later, it was the biggest song of all time.
Yeah. So I mean, like for me, it was like I just wanted to be in a place where like I could bring in a risk like that, and like we could at least talk about it. And so I started, you know, trying to assess my future. I ended up going to 10K Projects, where I spent, you know, the following 4 years, and that was really cool seeing how you know, the company was really small. When I came on, there was about 10 to the staff and the roster. Like both staff and roster were under 15 at the time, and you know, it grew a lot over the years. And I was thankful to do some cool stuff over there. And I signed some awesome artists and put out some cool songs and projects. And you know, yeah. So then last year when I split from them, I was like, you know, now that I'm like working for myself and like I'm getting back into management and stuff like that, I really just kind of wanted to see what was out there. I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep being an A&R and working at a label. I wasn't sure if like maybe I try and start my own indie label. Maybe I just do management. And, like,
this was a year ago?
Yeah, this was pretty much all of last year for the most part, from like end of April on. And you know, I was meeting with a lot of labels, and there was some people I was really impressed with. I really wanted to end up with that I didn't, and there was some people I wasn't so impressed with. And like I met with a lot of awesome people though. And like it was my first time going around and really seeing what was out there in the music industry, and like trying to weigh my options, and like really, because I had the ability, thankfully, to take my time, and like I could you know, support myself still, and like
you were wanted. Yeah,
so I wanted to just do the dating game. So I did that, and you know, there's really awesome company I was meeting with for a bit, and for a while I really thought I was gonna end up there. I was like, yeah, really just a matter of time. You know, this is gonna be where I work the rest of my career, I feel like. And then I saw a job post on LinkedIn for Elektra, and I knew a bunch about Elektra. I knew it was like a really old like storied label that was like now come back and stuff, and like they signed some really cool shit. And I was like, you know, this could be cool. It's like doing pop. Like I love doing pop music. I grew up on that. I grew up on Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, all that shit. So I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's rip it. Let's see. But like, here I am. I never worked at a major. I'm so not corporate, bro. I'm so not corporate at all. And I was like, there's no fucking way they hit me back. Thankfully, they did hit me back, and I did an interview with a recruiter, and you know, then I was like, okay, now they're not hitting me back. I was like, that was nice, but like, you know, it's good. Nah. You know, and so anyways, they hit me back again, and I was like, I'll do the meeting, for sure, no problem. You know, I want to meet everyone. And so I go in, and I was a little worried going into it, because they asked me, it wasn't because anything like had to do with the job, but they asked me, oh, can you send in your Instagram and your TikTok before you come in? And I was like, I had no problem with the Instagram, it's whatever. I am on TikTok, not just for research. I just, you know, I use TikTok sometimes.
Posted a funny ass TikTok in your story today.
Thank you, I appreciate it. But it was like, it wasn't so much the TikToks, it was my name on TikTok. Yeah. And I was like, fuck, like, this is gonna be the nail in the coffin. Like, they're gonna tell me not to come to that interview or something like that. They're gonna bring it up or whatever. Because my TikTok name is extremely slutty. And so yeah, so I was like, oh, this is, because like, bro, I didn't want to lie and like just make another account. I was like, they have my number. They could find this account later. I didn't want to lie to them. I was like, I'm not lying to them. So yeah, so I get in the interview, and I'm like, okay, let's see when this comes up. 20-30 minutes in, going great. The guy, Jake, he's awesome, really cool and stuff. We're laughing and stuff. And then I feel comfortable enough to be like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest, I was a little worried coming in here. I wasn't sure if my TikTok name was gonna come up. But he was like, what? Clearly didn't look at it and like didn't know what I was talking about. I was like, oh, never mind. That's right. He was like, what's your TikTok name? And I was like, it's extremely slutty. And he laughed. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay, I'm home. I was like, we're good. Sick. Like, this is cool guy, cool company and stuff. So yeah, you know, I met with him a few more times, and you know, it ended up just making the most sense. And so I just started there officially beginning of the year. But it's a really cool company, and I'm really grateful to be there just because I didn't think I would find a major that kind of had the same values that I had as far as like artist development and like really giving artists a shot, and not just like 6 to 8 months before it's like, oh, they're not making us money after 6 months, you know what I'm saying, whatever. And it's like, artist development is way longer than that. And so I love that they value that, and also past that they value artists as people, and it's like they are really into the people business, not the music business. And like I just love the approach. And so I don't know, it's cool. I feel like I found my tribe, but very grateful. That's man,
beautiful, bro.
Yeah, I don't even know what the fucking question was, dude. Like,
no,
I
dude,
just went off on a fucking rant.
That is, this whole show is a series of rants. That's beautiful.
But yeah, dude, it was interesting. What
labels are under Elektra? It's Fueled by Ramen.
It's Fueled by Ramen.
Right?
There's Elektra Records also. The way it breaks down is crazy. So it's like Warner's at the top, and we're under Warner, but we're also a part of Atlantic Music Group. And then,
can you explain that? How does that work?
Well, it's just like labels under labels. So Elektra was reborn because Atlantic got so big that it was like something like 300 employees, or 300 on the roster and 200 employees, something like that. Damn. And it was like, we need to like siphon this off and make it its own label and focus and world and stuff. And so that's why Elektra was born again and stuff after it being dormant for a few years. And so next year is the 75-year anniversary of Elektra, which is really cool. We're working on some cool stuff there. But yeah, I mean, it's like Elektra is just kind of, it's exciting, man. It's like there's really something in the air over there. And I'm not just saying that because like I work there. It's like it drove me there because it's like you can just tell like this is a different kind of team. It's like there's a different kind of leadership there, and like I don't know. It was cool. I'm very grateful for that. I'm a people person. I told them I was like, my superpower is people. That is my superpower. Is connecting with people and connecting with the right people. And you know, I saw this quote, and it was from I'm forgetting his name. I feel terrible about it, but it was this actor who basically said that I hate that term lucky. I didn't get lucky. To say that I got lucky is discounting all those nights where I was homeless, where I was cold in Brooklyn doing this stuff. And it's like, I've been through shit like that, bro. I don't feel like I'm lucky. I was fortunate enough to find like-minded people that cared about me and I cared about them, and we're talented enough to make some shit happen together. And it's like, I found that in different places at different points in my life. And you know, I talk about this a lot. I think life is a bunch of circles, man. Life is really just a bunch of circles. I've been on this side of the table, I've been on your side of the table, figuratively and literally. It's just like, I meet myself and other people, and then I meet people that I can see myself becoming like one day. And I look at that, and I think it's all just something I try and take in because, you know, like I said, we're always students, but it's not just like, I am in some ways, when I meet someone that is younger than me, that is just coming up, I see a lot of myself in this guy I used to work with, and I tell him that all the time. He knows who he is. I fucking love you, dude. And I tell him that. I was like, dude, I see a lot of myself in you, and like, I really believe in you, and I know that you're going to be better than me. Like, you are going to fucking shine. And I see people that tell me similar things, and I'm just like, it's weird, like, the way things weave in and out of each other. But like, I don't know, man, like, life is so beautiful in that way, because it's just like, it's just so interesting and poetic how things happen. And like, there's so many things that end up making sense that didn't make sense early in my career to me, and like stuff that I learned. And it's like, that's why I really embrace the challenge of being a student in the music industry, because there's no way I can fucking help it. I'm gonna be a student always. So you know, it's I'm very grateful, and I do feel lucky, but less than lucky, I feel blessed, because it's really just like, you know, it wasn't always easy here, man. Like, I mean, when I first moved out to California, I was sleeping on my buddy's couch, and then I moved into, I was sleeping on his fucking floor. I'm sorry, sleeping on his floor, and I moved into my other buddy's apartment, but that was in Oxnard, and my internship.
That's deep.
Yeah, my internship was in North Hollywood.
Oh my god!
So
that's like an hour and a half away.
I had to take the Greyhound, 2 Greyhounds a day, and a couple Ubers to get to and from my internship. And you know, there were times where like I had to pay to get to my internship. What, I can't tell them, oh, I can't make it today, I don't have the money to get there. So like, there was weeks where like I didn't spend any money on food. I didn't eat anything for like a week or two at a time, just so I could get to and from my internship. Whether I had a place to stay that night or not, I made sure that I always got there, because, you know, I knew if I could sacrifice and just get by and just last out here, like, I would be okay. And, you know, I didn't tell my parents, I didn't tell my friends. You know, it was embarrassing. You know, I wanted to move out here so bad. It's like I couldn't go out here and fail. I couldn't do that shit. And I could have, but I didn't feel like I could have. And, you know, I think for me, it's like I'm glad that I sacrificed and went through that shit, because like, man, it's some crazy shit. Like when I first moved out here, I moved to my buddy's place in Oxnard, but then I was like, this is just not gonna work. I had a room there, and then long story short, I had to give up the room and I had to move to the couch, but like I was paying the same amount as if I had the room, and I was like, this is not, can't do that shit. So one of my other friends was like, yo, I know this guy. He's a friend of mine. Turns out that wasn't a friend. It was his drug dealer. He's like, yeah, you can live with him. He's just got a 1-bedroom in South LA. Listen.
South LA is so general. That's
I
crazy.
was so new to California. I didn't know that South LA was just like a nice way of saying like South Central.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, okay, sounds dope. I FaceTime him and like I look at the place. It looks cool and stuff. I think it's just gonna be me and him. And I get there and I was like, oh, it's in this part of LA. Yeah. I was like, oh shit, okay. And I also learned that it's not just me and him living in there in that 1-bedroom apartment in South Central. It's me and him and his best friend, and then also like 5 other people that he found on Airbnb that are like sleeping on like the couch and the floor in the living room. So that was interesting. And so I later found out that what he was charging me wasn't half of the rent. It was 2/3 of the rent. And then he was also caking off these other... Anyways, that was crazier for not that reason. That was crazy because he had like 3 pet snakes.
Yo,
and 2 of them were like 6 feet long, bro. There was one... Dude, this story doesn't sound real. On my life, this is real. There was one day I came home early from my internship, and my friend at the time meets me there, and we go in and like it's pretty dead. It's only like the main dude and then his best friend, and they're passed out on the couch. They did a bunch of things. So they were just passed out on the couch, and I was like, okay, standard day, whatever. We're gonna go in the room and smoke, cause me, the main dude and his friend, like me, him, and her, we all shared the room and stuff, and so me and my friend go in there. We're just gonna smoke and stuff, so we don't bother them, whatever. The snake cage was right by the entrance to the door of the bedroom. So when I walked past it, I noticed the top of it is off. And I'm deathly afraid of snakes. I will have a fucking panic attack in an instant. My heart starts pumping. The only time I had ever seen them out of the cage is when he was giving them a bath. So he
gave a bath?
I can't even answer.
How does that even look?
I don't know. So, well, I'll tell you how it looked. He fucking is giving them a bath in our bathtub. And mind you, the girl that was in the room was like, oh, like, I'm surprised you acting so cool with him doing that. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? I'm a headphones in, so I tell him, what are you talking about? I look up, and he's just cracking up, and he turns around, and he's holding the snake by its neck, and the snake, like, is, like, looking around, and it, like, locks eyes with me, and its body just starts going fucking stupid. And I'm like, oh, my... I actually had, like, a fucking panic attack. I had to ran out of that place. I was freaking the fuck out. So I was very worried that they're passed out on the couch, and I don't see any of these fucking snakes that are in here. So I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, yo, dude, can you please check the room? Can you check the bathtub? Can you do all this stuff? He's like, nothing in the room, nothing in the bathtub. Bathtub's bone dry. Don't know where they're at. So we're like, oh, shit. What the fuck? So we ultimately see this container on the floor of the kitchen with a big wooden piece over, and it's filled with water. I'm like, oh, okay, that's where they're at. Except I noticed that the second big snake, the bigger snake, Indica was her name.
Oh,
Indica.
Was the other one Sativa?
I don't fucking remember. All I knew that this bitch Indica was up to no good. So Indica's not in there. The bigger of the 3 snakes, the biggest of the 3 snakes is not in the box with the other 2 snakes. I'm about ready to kill myself. I'm not okay at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like shivering damn near. I am shook. And so all of a sudden the main dude wakes up. We'll call him Dan. Dan wakes up. What's going on, guys? Why are you guys freaking out? I'm like, Indica's gone, dude. He's like, oh shit. And I'm like, oh no, like when he says oh shit, this guy's like Steve Irwin of South Central, dog. This guy was walking around with snakes. He's so comfortable. If he's saying oh shit, Oh my God, bro, no. So I started freaking out. And I continue to freak out, I should say. And he's looking around and he's doing stuff. And then all of a sudden he just stops and just starts laughing. Like, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, dude? I kid you not. This guy unzips his pants, reaches down through his crotch hole, and pulls indica out of his pants leg all the way. And I'm like, oh, I want to rip my skin off. I'm like, I am so not good right now, dude. I was so not good. And so he was like, oh, I forgot we were taking a nap earlier. She crawled on my pants. I'm like, there's so many things not okay with this. I was just so happy that the snake was found. I went in the room and I just ripped like 10 bowls back to back to back because there was no way I was gonna calm down if not for that. And even that barely brought me down. So yeah, that was fucking nuts. That place was crazy. I met a lot of cool people though. You know, they say like, oh,
who the fuck naps with a snake?
I don't know.
That's like the weirdest part of that.
But I'll be honest, like, they weren't bad people, dude.
Yeah.
They were just really interesting people. Like, it was a crazy experience, and like, it wasn't my favorite time. But like, I don't think any of them were bad people. And I don't know, man. It's like, what was that book? It's like, these are like the 10 people you meet in heaven or purgatory or something like that. It felt like that kind of. Okay. It was like, these are just people from all these different walks of life that have all these crazy stories.
It's
and
almost like interesting, yeah.
It was, because like everyone that was a B&B had such a crazy story because they were like out there trying to, this was the cheapest fucking thing on B&B. It's like you're paying like $20 a day to sleep in a corner of a room. You can't beat that shit.
No.
So like all these people were just struggling in whatever field they wanted to do and like were trying to make it. And I really...
What were they all like what were they all doing? A lot of different stuff.
So there's this one guy. This guy made an impression on me.
Okay.
This guy's name is Tony Starr Smith. I hope you see this, Tony. Shout out to you, Tony. Smith. This man, Tony, is from Virginia, and the one bathroom in the apartment was in the room. So all like the 5, 6, 7 people that were there were going through there. And I only had about as much space as my body took up, which isn't a little bit of space. But still, it wasn't a fucking bed space. So people are like walking over me because my legs cross where the entrance to the bathroom is. So every morning, Tony would wake up, and at some point he'd go in the bathroom, and he would start listening to and re-recording the same 1 or 2 songs that he had. He was an artist. He was a singer. He could kind of fucking like sing really well. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, like it's just like almost bad, but it's kind of really good too. It's like King Cruel. That's the closest I can describe. It's like, to some people it sounds like nails on a chalkboard. Other people are like, damn, this motherfucker could sing. He was like
my entire music library.
Yeah, so like, it was crazy, but he was a very interesting guy. And so every single day he would wake up, and I'll pull it up and I'll play a little bit, but bro, he would wake up and he would do the same 2 songs, practice them, and this guy was ready for fucking anything to perform these songs always. And he was grinding shit out. He ended up starting selling incense, like and he had kind of like some success with it, I think, or something like that. I kept up with him for a little bit, but like he was so interesting, man, because that guy just was so kind and soft spoken, and like he just wanted it so bad. And his favorite artist of all time was Prince, and we lived together when Prince died. And now it's just like I came home and he's watching like all the Prince shit, and I'm like, damn, bro, this guy's like really affected by it. And like, I don't know, it was just another example of like the closeness between like human emotion and the intimacy of like sound and stuff and like music and shit. And like you can just tell he was really affected. And it's like I hadn't at that point in my life lost an artist that I cared about like that. But like, I don't know, it was just another cool example of like how close we could feel to someone without ever actually knowing them. And like that's why music is so cool, you know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know, but yeah, man, Tony Starr Smith, that guy is what to this day one of the nicest, kindest, most interesting people I met out here, man. That guy is crazy.
That is such an interesting anecdote, actually, into like, because I feel you in a regard where I feel like I've met some incredibly talented and also very kind people that just don't know how to succeed. as an artist, like in this industry, because it's such it's like you can be the most talented artist in the world, and if no one ever hears you, it doesn't ever matter.
Doesn't matter.
You know, like do you ever struggle with that? Like the idea, like I imagine A&R, it's like that is your job, I suppose, but like at a certain point, like do you ever, like, how often do you find like from ground zero projects, like artists who like have like no motion behind them, and like is that an interesting dynamic to be in?
That's been most of my career. It's like I've had to have that conversation, like, okay, listen, I know this guy doesn't have anything going on, but he's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like I've signed 2 artists that basically didn't have any music out on DSPs and stuff, and it was the most recent one was
Groupthink was one of them, right?
Sick. Yeah, one of the most talented people I've ever worked with, period. And he's
fire.
Yeah, and his manager Bell, longtime friend of mine, just came through. He was like, yo, I want to like show you this artist. And we just got really fucking high. I made this spicy ass chili with like a bunch of weed butter in it, and like, yeah, we just got like ripped and like watched this shit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the dopest shit. This guy has like no music out. What the fuck? Like he had like less than like 100 monthly listeners.
Wow.
He had like 2 old ass songs out. I was like, damn. But it wasn't the first time I signed an artist with like no songs out. There's this guy Turbo from Canada, and he was really one of the most special artists I've ever worked with. And he's the one that had to step back for some personal stuff. But man, you know what I'm saying? I'm not afraid to take the shot, and I think that's really what it's about. And even it's like if an artist does have some motion, you know, there was a time where I thought if you have 100,000 monthly listeners, you're up, you're on.
Yeah.
But that's not the case, obviously. Even if you have 1 million, it's not the case. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think for me, it's not just artists at 0, but like being able to take an artist from wherever they're at is like very exciting for me, because it's like I will sign an artist that has no moments and no buzz, and I'll sign an artist that has kind of a little bit, but like they don't have hits. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing like tens of millions of streams. I've never signed an artist that's already doing millions of streams. I never have, and I will. But it's just like for the majority of my career, I just like didn't care, dude. It's like I always found shit that I thought, when I found Old Town Road, bro, it wasn't that big, but it could have been something, and it became everything. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's been tons of shit like that. Like I tried to sign Cardi B when I was an intern with Gangsta Bitch Music Volume 1. That shit was smacking, dog. So I bring that up as an intern, and like I was told that he didn't really think that she would cross over from being a social media star to like an artist, and like sure enough, the next couple of years, that's where everything went.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Bad Baby gets signed, all these other people, Jake Paul does music, you know, it's like that's where everything went, and that's kind of what dominates today. You have to be a content creator. You have to be big on social media. And so, you know, when
do you think and I assume what you're gonna say is TikTok, but I'm interested to hear.
Yeah.
Like, when do you think the era from the blog era that you were a part of, that when, like, because I mean that's where I started too. Like I was Above the Bridge started as a blog. When do you think you realized that like there had been a changing of the guards, and like it got to this point where like we had to be like every musician essentially has to be a personality as well?
I think it started, you know, I couldn't give you an exact like timestamp. I think it was around 2015, 2016, and the first artist I could use as a really good example, I think for me, that I saw was Young M.A. Because she was bigger on Instagram than anything else, than her YouTube, than her Twitter, and that's what got the like that shit was popping on YouTube, but because it was directly being like her Instagram was up, and so you know, like that's when I started seeing like, damn, like it's really like that's when Instagram was driving shit, and then when Cardi started taking off, it was Twitter driving shit, and like that was the end. Like that was kind of the tail end when like, okay, if you get on like the Fader and like Complex, it still means something. Today, if you got posted on, and shout out to all these places, they're great platforms, but the reality is you get posted on front page of the Fader and Complex and any other publication digitally today, you're probably not going to get 10,000 streams from that shit. Whereas back in the day, you could blow up if you got the right 5 to 10 blogs to post your song.
Interesting.
That's insane. Like I've seen it. Like I remember this guy.
So fast, dude.
So fast, dude. It changes, but it's like, you know, and that's why I'm saying like we're always students, man. And then TikTok came along, and like we have Reels now too, and YouTube Shorts, and like all this other shit. And it's like, it's cool seeing everything wrap into. I think the SoundCloud era soured a lot of people's interest in the music industry, and everything became like a joke and a meme in the rap space, at least, because it was like, oh, if you have colored dreads and face tattoos and you dress a certain way, you're gonna blow up. And to an extent, it was right. There was way too many Skinny from the Nines. There was way too many
Skinny from the Nines.
Gosh, what a mistake that was. But you know, just, I mean, bro, it's just like there's so many of those. But like with the TikTok era, it had its SoundCloud rapper thing blown through, like the whole TikTok super corny dancey shit. That shit died pretty quick, man. Like
very
after
fast,
like a year or two.
Yeah.
And now where do we see it going? It's storytelling. It's real artistry.
Yeah,
it's
I
not
agree.
someone who may look like a star, but Oliver Anthony's a good example. That guy had one of the biggest songs of last year out of fucking nowhere, completely independently.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like he looks like a star. He's not dressing a certain way.
No.
Okay, I know I was talking about rap versus like.
Bro looks like Ed Sheeran's dad. Like,
yeah.
he doesn't like.
I mean, I know it's different genres, but it's just the same type of thing. It's like all the rules are broken. Now there are no rules. If you find a way through, that's the right way.
Interesting.
That's what it is.
I think that's so true. And I think with TikTok, that's kind of like the silver lining with everything, right? It's like there's no one way to do this.
And you know what's interesting? The relation of labels to artists in this new era is, you know, the through line through all this stuff, through every trend, through the blog era, through the SoundCloud era, through the TikTok era, through everything.
Good music,
artist development.
Yeah,
artist development never died.
Interesting.
And labels stopped doing it because it got lazy, because it's like, oh, well, we can just spend on TikTok and it works. Back in the day, you could spend $5 to $10 on TikTok and have some really take off.
Yeah.
Now you have to get very lucky if you're spending that little. You really got to spend $20K plus if you're a label to really try and get something moving that's not already going organically. And even then, it might not really be going.
Yeah.
Then you're 20K in the hole, and it's just like, it's stupid. So it's like, I think now what's so interesting is seeing.
Do you think like sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
But do you think like the focus on artist development left when TikTok's when labels rather figured out or thought that they had figured out that they have this like get rich quick scheme almost, like they can play this lottery, they can like, you know, play this lottery for this jackpot every single day, and they'd rather just do that opposed to you know, traditional artist development?
I
like,
think,
when do you think it died?
Some people it did. But I think it's also like, I think it's digital marketing in general.
Yeah.
It's that if you get the Twitter, back in the day, it was like Hootsuite or whatever the fuck, like TweetDeck, that's what it was. TweetDeck, and it was on Hootsuite, but it was like TweetDecks where like, you could basically be in like a pool of big Twitter accounts, and anytime anyone wanted to retweet something on every account, they could, basically. It was something like that. And it's like, there's tweet decking shit, there was Instagram, there was all this shit. I mean, I think it's just like digital marketing in general made people feel like, well, why are we gonna like develop so much? Let's like try and like really just get something viral and like send it. It's guerrilla shit. And I'm sure I know that wasn't every music company, but a lot of people switched to that because you could spend less and then hit the lottery more often, maybe. But at the end of the day, what has never stopped working is developing artists, standing behind an artist and making tasteful choices with an artist that you really love and are passionate about, their music, themselves as a person, their team, all this stuff. Because it's not just artists, it's a team. You're signing that team too. You can't just think, well, I'm going to remove them, whatever, I'm the label. Yeah, you know, some labels want to do that stuff, but at the end of the day, the reality is you have to really be that careful. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that being able to use digital marketing as a supplemental tool to what you're doing, but it's really like, bro, like digital marketing is evolving too, because you look at it and like labels are hiring people to just do content now and just do content strategy and shoot that and do that, and they're not just outsourcing for it, they're doing it. At a lecture the other day, we had an artist who's shooting content in the parking garage with the team and stuff, and it's like being that hands-on as a label only makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But that is part of developing an artist. It's helping them grow in whatever way, shape, or form that is. And it's like, at the end of the day, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Maybe you're not shooting high budget music videos. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's like, it's not a high budget music video, it's a bunch of short form videos that are done really well. Yeah. Our boys Live to Create, that's us, whatever. But still, the Live to Create team does that so well with Pert, with Noah, with M. Byhold back in the day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that is where the future is going. The future is going towards telling a story and being good at music and having a relatable, not even necessarily relatable, but just something people can hold on to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Zach Bryan, Jelly Roll, these people are speaking from their fucking hearts on the songs and stuff. People gravitate to that. Noah Khan, another one of those and stuff. I mean, it's just like, people want realness. They thrive for, they want authenticity. People want real shit from real people. And not all the time. I mean, I'll listen to some fluff, bubblegum, whatever the fuck shit, whether it's a pop song or rap song, just a guilty pleasure type shit. But at the end of the day, like, people want to relate, feel
like they've been heard.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think also there's the part of the intimate relationship with it, especially, and that's why I love when artists really lean into their fans and like do special stuff for them, is because some people get really lonely and they find solace in music,
100%.
and that music comes from a person. So these people, in some way, they feel connected to the artist. I feel connected to certain artists. You feel connected to certain artists.
100%.
It's not like I think that we're friends, but they feel like a friend. They feel like a friendly force, a friendly energy in my life when I listen to their music, because it feels like a hug. It feels like I feel better. I feel happier, more fulfilled. I am recalibrated when I listen to their music. I think it's important to just work with artists that get the picture that they are an influence and they are a role model, whether they like it or not. And I kind of hate when artists like, well, I never signed up to be a role model. Well, you kind of did, honestly. If you want to be on this pedestal, if you want influence, that's why Taylor Swift is so careful with her shit, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like people on these big pedestals, they know their influence and they know that they will have an impact should they choose to say or do something a certain way and stuff. And maybe it's not like in like politics or anything like that, but still it's just like I care about uplifting people in the music, because that's just, I don't know, I just think that that's important. You know what I'm saying? It's like I want to be a good guy. I don't want to be like a bad guy. I want to work with an artist that people relate to. That's why it was so cool working with someone like Groupthink or like even Natalie Jane, because Groupthink, like his project Before the Afters was awesome because it embodied like a feeling, a time of night of like it's between the party and the afters, and this is the music. This music is meant to make you feel and take you to that space. And like to me, it's almost like a nostalgic thing. I love that. I love going to college parties and doing that shit and like going to the afters and doing. And it's like then also working with someone like Natalie Jane, who makes really good heartfelt songs about breakups, about overcoming that shit, and like about just believing in yourself. And like I don't know. It's awesome working with different artists in all these different aspects and different spaces of the world, because you know at the end of the day they're all making a positive impact in their own rights. It's like whether you're having fun to their music, whether you're falling in love to their music, whether you're recovering from a breakup for their music, it's like it's helping you. It's helping us like build ourselves back up. And I think like music helps people's resilience so much. And I know for me, like last year was such a formative year where I felt so beat down by life personally and professionally, and just like I had to build myself back up, and I relied on music. Honestly, I had myself and I had my fucking playlist, man, and it's like it was lifting myself up every day. Sometimes it was hard to lift myself up, but I had a song that I went to. That song was Ski Yee by Sexy Red. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. I mean, like, really, that's what it was, bro. It's like I had songs that was like, this is gonna get me fucking going. And I would be, you know, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I listen to a lot of breakup songs when I work out, bro. I'd be sad as bro.
Really?
Oh, bro, I listen to so many sad songs when I'm on the treadmill just doing.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
I can't do sad when I'm working out, dude. I gotta do like there's like a certain level of, I don't know, like it's not genre for me. It's like it's more so like it encapsulates somebody who I feel like I can relate to, and them talking about their struggle. Like a weird example of this would be like I was listening to like Be Somebody by Slim Dan the other day. I was working out, which is not like a pump up song, but it's like I feel like I related to the struggles that he was talking about, and it made me want to overcome that in the gym. Or like I like my favorite like finishing a run song of all time is what the fuck? I can't remember the name of the song right now. Well, it's a Frank Sinatra song. Why am I totally forgetting the name of it? My Way. I don't know why I just blanked there. Yeah, but like my finishing a run to My Way, bro, is just something about it. Like I've had regrets. I've had a few. Oh, dude, too few to mention.
I'd be starting and finishing with Tate McRae, bro. Tate McRae. I ain't gonna lie, Sadie Jean, Locksmith. That song gets me fucking going on the treadmill, bro. Oh my gosh, yeah, dude. That heartbreak shit gets me fucking pumped, dude. So
have you heard First Aid by Gus Dapperton? Yeah, that song.
Gus is amazing.
Yeah, Gus is so. He's like one of my favorite artists. But like,
he's so good.
Yeah, he's so sick. But like, dude, that song. So it's like not really like a workout song, but like it's another one that just gets me going. I don't know what it is. Or like I gotta listen to like hard ass trap music. Like,
of course. You can never go wrong with Waka Flocka and
bro.
And all that shit. I like the old school bangers, bro. There's this playlist on Spotify that someone made. It's like the divorced dad like thing. It's like a bunch of like fucking Nickelback and like all this shit. And I listen to that sometimes. I'm like, bro, I know these are like old cringe like early 2000s songs. Some of those fucking hit, bro.
Dude, for sure.
The kiss of an angel, na, 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 so sweet, bro. Are you kidding me? That shit goes crazy.
Crying by Aerosmith. I've been crying to forget you, but I'm trying to let
I love it, dude. Bro. Oh my gosh.
My favorite thing is like that genre of song. I know the exact genre you're talking about. Like that genre of songs. I know all of the lyrics to, but I don't know that I know the lyrics to.
Yeah,
and then I'll put it on. I'm like, oh shit! I'm like,
look at this photograph.
Yeah, I'll put it on. I'm like, holy shit! Wait, I know every lyric to this song, and I haven't heard it in 10 years. Yeah, like literally.
So good, man.
To backtrack to one thing you were saying, I think one thing that bothers me so much about like this culture is like this world where like I think, and I've told a lot of artists this, like artists who have incredible stories and make incredible music, but they are like not guilted, but they feel like they should do the corny gimmicky shit on socials because like they've just seen so many people doing it. So they, you know, then they'll like write off their story or write off their incredible talent to replace it with something that's not going to tell their story.
Yeah.
And that is like, that's always killed me because it's like, dude, if you have good music and you have a good story, that's all that matters, like to begin with.
Yeah.
If that's what you have as a foundation, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And that is like the number one end all be all thing that you have to have. You have to make compelling music and you have to have a good story. And if you can do those two things, you can craft your brand around it in whatever way you want to.
That is just like A/B testing what works as far as like marketing your stuff. But it's like if you have the story, you have the music, then a lot of the other stuff can fall into place.
No, exactly. I'm really happy that you touched on the artist development stuff. That was something I really want to talk about because I truly do feel like I don't know like how that comes back entirely. Like I think how it comes back is like another 3 to 4 years of like the virality check not working.
Yeah.
Like I think like the more that these labels try to play this virality game and they're realizing that's not producing long-term growth and it's not selling tickets, it's not making them money, all it's doing is bringing them numbers, eventually they'll be forced to pivot. Eventually.
It's cool. You had a big 3 to 5 years. You could have made more than that money if you had an artist that lasted 5 to 10.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. You know?
Exactly.
You think about it like, if you find it, and so many companies are built off of signing tasteful things. There's QC, there's Love Renaissance, there's all this stuff where these labels signed a few things that they really believed in, TDE. And, you know, it's like, we believe in this. It's tasteful. We're pouring all of ourselves into this, so we're going to break these artists and stuff.
Yeah.
When you have to kill what you eat, it's different. And, like, these labels were built on that, and I really admire that because it's like, you think about it, like, a lot of artists, not a lot of artists, but there are a lot of artists that have had their careers cut short because a label doesn't feel like ponying up the money anymore. But, you know, I've just always thought about, like, and not everyone thinks about it this way. I know, you know, it's not my fucking checkbook. It's the label's money, not my fucking bank account. But I just feel like we could sign an artist that's huge, and it's a bidding war. We win the bidding war. Let's say we spend $2-3 million on this, right? And it doesn't work out. We spend all this money. We don't recoup. We do recoup, whatever it is and stuff. You could spend $500K with an artist smaller and maybe it won't work, but it's like if it does work, then it's just like, I don't know. I just feel like you don't always need to spend the big money up front. You can spend less breaking an artist over time if you give them a real chance. And I think like that's why some labels, they have to spend that big money because they don't know how to do that. They can't develop artists like that.
Well, it's way harder, right? I mean, I would say it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is harder, but it's I don't know. I mean, it's not like there's one formula that works. Like, it's harder, but at the same time, I don't think it's that much harder because, like, it's like, dude, like, I don't know. It's like spending a ton of money on an artist up front. It's like it's not like I was scared of it, but I just, like, I always was more inclined to sign something early for less and just develop it because it's like, okay, like, we aren't in the green for like 2 or 3 years, but then when we are in the green, it's like we haven't spent as much off. Like, you're talking about giving someone like a $2-3 million advance. You're not talking about what you're going to spend on marketing and what you're going to spend on everything else. It's like there's all these other costs that come up besides the advance that you got to recoup. And it's just a bitch, man. I mean, it's tough. It could set an artist up to fail for life, especially on an 80-20 royalty model. So it's like, you know, but that's also why deals are changing, man. There's a lot more license deals now. 100%. There's net profit splits. And it's like, it's interesting because a lot more distribution deals. A lot of labels are starting distribution arms because it's a way for them to sign a bunch of stuff and not be able not have to pump a ton of money into it. And you know, there's you know, a school of thought there for sure. I'm just not someone that wants to throw a bunch of shit at a wall and hope it sticks. It's the guy, I like picking my shots,
take my bet on something.
You know, like when I can cook. And I you know, I'm not saying I know everything. I definitely, like, I need the help of a team. I need the help of my you know, accompanying departments, and like obviously having help from upper management is great. But it's like at the end of the day, like, I'm fully capable of growing an artist and developing an artist and making them the best artists that they can be. but it just doesn't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and it's
100%.
like there's some people, and I respect it. Some people don't want to do that, and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Some labels don't want to do that, and I respect it. You know, what works for me doesn't work for everyone, and vice versa, and that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But like for me, and just like the type of career I want to have, that is what I want to do. I want to have artist development at the forefront of it. I do want to work with an artist and help put out their first album and their last album. That's my goal with everyone.
It's like raising a kid, you know?
Exactly. It is like raising a kid. And I would rather not try and sign something because it's hot right now that everyone wants, and you know, trust the process, bro. That's something that really I just fully have bought into in my career, is just trust the process, dude.
And I think when it comes down to artist development and fully like buying into that mindset, it truly is a matter of confidence.
100%, dude. It's 100% confidence, and it's like trust, and it's like, listen, not every artist is gonna work out and stuff, but if you make informed decisions, not just with data but with your gut, you got to trust yourself, bro. I don't
trust
think,
your ears.
And what's interesting is that like this era has bred so many A&Rs that are just like data A&Rs, and like the reality is anyone can go through data and charts and scrape that shit, and like that's fine.
Wow.
I think the best A&Rs are people that can recognize the talent early and develop it, and when they're given the time and the chance to really develop it, they do well with that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I look at Internet Money. They did a great job with this guy Rich Amiri right now. He has a song that's doing 1 million streams a day on Spotify alone. 2 years ago, no one really knew this kid. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and they have just kind of step by step, brick by brick, they developed it. Them and his management team, they've done a great job, and I know those guys really well. So like I've seen a lot of it firsthand, but it's like those guys work their ass off. But there's some labels that would have dropped him after 2-3 years. Oh, we're not making it. This kid is really, there's no one else in the underground in his space that's doing 1 million streams a day on a song. There's not. And that doesn't come overnight. That comes from development, and not saying, oh, well, we need to do this and that and the other. You can't treat every artist the same. There are best practices and there's protocols and stuff. Sometimes you got to break the rules, because that's how you build an artist up the right way. And that's what they did. They didn't always submit songs 3-4 weeks in advance to get best playlists, and they say, hey, we put a song on SoundCloud, it's doing well, we got to put it up this week. And they get pushed back, but at the end of the day, that's all led to this. I don't think they look anything less than smart as fuck for what they have done, dude. Let's be fucking real. They took that kid from basically no one knew him. He has some buzz in the underground, but that kid has a hot ass song right now, and that's great. You know what I'm saying? The sky's the limit. That shit has every single day gone up incrementally, percentage wise, for I don't even know. I keep seeing those guys post every day. I'm really happy for them. I keep liking the stories and shit, because I know what it took to get here, and I love those stories, because like Rich is a very talented guy, but he has evolved so much as an artist and as a person, and his looks and his aesthetic and his sound and everything, and like that comes with patience and trust.
With that mindset, like when you're signing something, do you ever pitch like on the raw talent and what it can be, 100%. Or are you only able to pitch on like, this is how they sound now, or can you pitch on like, this is how I think they can sound?
No, 100%. I think you have to take potential into it, but man, at the end of the day, like I rely on the people's raw talent. Teddy Swims, he's an amazing singer. He just cracked top 10 on Billboard with his song Lose Control. It's fucking incredible. But I tried to sign Teddy really early when he had like one original song out, and it was all a bunch of covers, and he just had, to this day, arguably the best voice I've ever heard in my life. It's just like that. You can't teach someone. It's basketball, right? You can teach someone how to dunk. You can't teach someone how to be 7 feet tall. You can teach someone how to write a song. You can't teach someone how to have, I mean, I guess you can work and have a better voice, but some people just got the talent, man. Some people just have it. Teddy just has it. I knew from the fucking beginning that this guy, whether he ends up signing with me or anyone else, no matter where he goes, it's inevitable. He could go to the worst label in the fucking world, and he's going to have a hit because he is that fucking good. Talk about artist development. Teddy Swims started releasing music seriously once he finally got the deal, which is with Warner, and he now, 4 years later, is in the top 10 on Billboard. That's artist development. That's letting an artist cook. We trust you. We trust the process. We're going to build with you step by step, brick by brick, 1 foot in front of the other, inch by inch. Now they have a top 10 hit on Billboard.
And I also think that's as much of believing in them as a person as it is believing in their music.
Facts.
Like it's arguably as, it's as important.
Because the artist has to work harder than anyone else
100%.
To make their shit work. And if they're not, got to work on that. I've had artists that don't work harder than everyone else. I've had artists that work way harder than everyone else, and my whole thing is that I don't want to be the one working harder than you are for your success, because sure, if you're successful, I'm successful in a way, but at the end of the day, like artists will break off from labels and do all this stuff. It's like, I don't know. I think for me, it's just like I said, I want to put out people's first and last album, and that's why I build these relationships with the type of people I build them with, because like, I don't know. I'm not just like in it, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, ready to get in and out. It's not just like a money grab. It's not like a pump and dump. It's not some crypto shit. It's like really like, I believe in this person. I believe in your music. I believe in where you can go, and I want to help you get there.
Yeah, build something with them.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Try to.
What do you think is like the hardest part of being an A&R in 2024?
Man, I think one of the hardest things is kind of what we've been talking about. Is like artist development, especially if you're like at a label that's like
trying pushing to for
turn
it
and burn. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Like I think if you don't have like enough people in the building on your side, it's gonna be really difficult for you. And I've had artists that weren't loved in situations, and I had other artists that were loved, and it's like, you know, it sucks, but every label is unfortunately in some way, shape, or form. I won't say every label actually, but a lot of labels there will be favoritism. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but also it goes down to picking the right artist, bro. If you pick an artist that isn't a headache to work with, that is like coachable and shit, it's like, you know, you're gonna have a better time with it. And like, that's why I think it's so important to do multiple meetings and meet the team more than one. I might do 3 to 5 meetings. For 5 is a lot, but like I have done that many, but it's like as many as it takes for it to make sense, you know what I'm saying? On both sides, you know what I'm saying? Sure. I think sometimes it's harder trying to preach to people that are older than me or more experienced, and I'm not saying they're like old heads stuck in their ways, but some people definitely have where they're comfortable, where they believe things work, and then it's trying to like undo that and like rewrite their experience. Well, yeah, I know you have a diamond record doing it this way. That way it doesn't work anymore. This is how, and it's like trying to get them to buy into that can be tough. But you know, I don't know. That's thankfully not something I deal with right now. But it's just like at the end of the day, I know people really try and fight hard to give their artists a real shot, because sometimes they don't get it. I mean, I've seen artists get dropped in their first year being signed a lot at multitude of labels, and it's like, damn, man, like that sucks. Because I think about it from the other side, like when that artist gets that deal, it doesn't matter if it's for 20K, 50K, 100K, $1 million, they think, oh, I'm on. I got it. Not everyone, but a lot of people think this is my dream coming true. So I've been working towards.
That was the whole thing. I wanted to get signed.
And like and now listen, that's when the work really starts for real. Artists get that fucked up too. Again, like I said in the beginning, it's like it's not the label can be the bad guy. Sometimes the artist is the bad guy, dude.
Of course.
I've seen a lot of artists fuck themselves out of positions. That sucks, but that's the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? So
no, 100%. And it's also like, it's also not deeper than like the fact that like if there are 2 parties involved, like those 2 parties have to be like incredibly communicative, exactly how they're feeling, and not only that, they have to work at the same level.
Those are the best teams.
The
best teams are the ones that communicate best. And there's no secret. That's not a secret. Like that's not. Now some people have to force themselves to communicate well because hey, we just don't get along fundamentally, but we do great business together. So I've seen that. There's something to be said for that. I get it, but nah, man. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like everyone would ideally like to just get along and have the type of relationship where you can be communicative and have that reciprocated trust in people.
So like going in and out of like the A&R role, and then you said you're doing the managing role, like from the managing role more so like when if there's an artist that has like little to no movement at all in any other stuff, but they've been putting stuff out for years, they've been creating, like what is the step one like generalized rule that you would like? I guess it's not like one rule, but like what do you tell an artist that just everything they're trying isn't working?
I don't know, man. That's tough because I think everything's very situational. I think it's case by case. One thing I tell a lot of people is don't just try and do one thing. So like I'm an A&R, but I also have gotten into trying to like manage artists and do that stuff. And it's like A&R is my main thing, but I also do this other thing that kind of feeds into each other. Tell a lot of artists, write for other people. Because writing for other people, if you can produce, play instruments, that's great too. But you get into a lot more rooms if you can write a hit for someone. Even if you're writing great songs, that's awesome. If you write a hit for someone else, I mean, and it lands. There's this one artist who I think is fucking awesome. His name's G6 Red Dot. I've been trying to get into business with that guy for a long time. I tried to sign him, and I think every label I've been at. I literally tried to sign him at every label I've been at. But shout out to him. He's a good friend of mine. But he, sick ass artist, didn't have a ton of like numbers or anything like that. But he made really good songs, really versatile. He produces and stuff, and he ended up getting invited to a writing camp for Cardi B, and he wrote Up for her.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that was his Because not only did he, okay, so you're making some money now, but it was also like, he got invited to a lot more rooms. He met more artists. He met more producers. He met more songwriters. And they're like, oh, he's fucking sick. Oh, yeah. Beam was another one. Beam, sick artist. He's been featured on like Justin Bieber's album, but he's also written for tons of other people. He was on Beyonce's album, but he's written for other people. And like, that guy's made a lot of connections. I think he's ended up on a lot of these big records because he will write a song to get pitched, but then they're like, oh, I want to keep this guy on it. He's sick. So I think like doing that sort of thing can really help. If that's what you need, it's not just horror. It's not just networking vertically, it's networking horizontally. You know what I'm saying? It's like you need to get in the room with people, and it's not for like a selfish reason. Again, build real relationships, because that's how you really move the needle and stuff. Because someone calls me and they just need a favor and me and them are not friends, I'm not gonna really try and help them. What the fuck? Like, no, dude. I'd be way more inclined to help my homie out that's had my back and I've had their back and we are actually friends, even if we haven't helped each other yet. But you're a solid dude. I fuck with you. Yeah. You're going to get way more flies with honey than fucking vinegar. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, for me, I feel like it's the same way. It's like you just got to like help yourself in as many ways, and you got to help yourself by helping others. And it's like the more good you do, and this is just music, this is really life, the more you put into stuff, the more you're going to get out of stuff. The more you put into things, you're going to get out of it. And so I think it's like not just being an artist. If you can write and produce, and I know it's tough. You might live in fucking Michigan, and it's like, how can I get into the studio? How can I do this? Try and, ship stuff out and DMs and stuff. I know it sucks, dude. Cold DMing and stuff and doing all that shit. It's not easy, but it's like, if you keep pounding the rock, there's a chance that someone like me might hear it, or someone bigger than me might hear it, or someone like you might hear it and invite you onto the podcast, and then someone like me watches the podcast and I play it for another friend who works at a label that, oh, I like this. And then, it's just like artists have to just kind of roll with the punches. And being an artist sucks. I'm not gonna dance around it. Being an artist fucking sucks. It's really hard. It's not rewarding. It's a thankless fucking job most times. People are so fake to you when you're hot, and they're so not cool to you when you're cold. But But
if you're an artist, you can't pretend you're not. Like if you're an artist, you're an artist, and if you don't like become an artist and try to become an artist, you will kick yourself for the rest of your life. Yeah. Like you cannot shake that out of you. I truly believe that. I think like 100%. Like if you are an artist, like from birth or from an experience, whatever it is, like you cannot get rid of that. Yeah. And I feel like if you...
It's your calling,
Like, there's no way around it. You can't change it, I think, like, getting out of the room of, like, being a... Like pursuing your own artist project and then becoming, like, either producer or an engineer or a songwriter, it takes a lot of, like, loss of ego at a certain point, I think, as well. Because it is very, very difficult, I would say, to tell... I mean, have you ever had to, like, tell an artist that, like, wants to pursue an artist project that maybe, like, songwriting would be the way to go or anything like that? And is it, like, ever met with ego?
Everything's met with ego. Not everything, but there's
most things.
It's tough though. It's and I get it, because it's like saying, "Hey, like, I don't know, this is for you." I don't know if I've told anyone that like they shouldn't pursue stuff, because I think everyone should always do what the fuck makes them happy.
For sure, yeah.
As long as it's not hurting anyone else. And it doesn't matter if you're gonna end up making it or not. If you want to fucking make a rap song, if you want to sing on this hook, if you want to do covers, do that shit. But if you want to try and make a living off of this, okay, you might want to put some eggs in other baskets too. You know what I'm saying? Plant seeds in other fields, and not stop sowing these seeds, but play them in other places too. Yeah. So I mean, like, I have told people, is like, you should be into writing. You should also. I think there's something to be said for artists developing other artists, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the best coaches were once players, but they weren't the best players, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's tons of coaches in the NFL and the NBA and everything that, even in fighting, think about like the UFC. A lot of these people's trainers, the best fighters in the world, their trainers weren't some best fighter in the world. Yeah. But here they are training the best fighter in the world.
Steve Kerr.
So it's like, I think it's really like, you don't always have to be the player to be on the winning team. To get a championship, you don't always need to be LeBron. There's still Phil Jackson, and he was a player too, so I might not be the best example. Eric Spoelstra, whoever the fuck you want to talk about. I'm not a basketball guy. But still, it's just like, that's what I'm saying. It's just...
That's just as important.
Yeah. So I think finding your avenue, whatever it is, maybe it's, hey, I have this knowledge from my experience. You're better than me, so let me give you this knowledge and help you. Yeah. And do it that way. Or maybe I know people that open up studios and help people that way, and maybe they do shit like they give back to community even and shit like that. But it's like, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I think people need to celebrate the middle class artists more.
Dude, I feel like it's becoming more and more of a thing.
If you can make $60 to $100K a year off if you can live comfortably off your music, you're successful.
Yeah, I totally agree, dude. And that's the thing, right? It's like, if you can do that, even if it's not through your artist project, if you can do that, that beats going and fucking working at a restaurant as a manager, or like that beats fucking going and being a lawyer, like, or unless you want to do that, but like,
unless you want to do that,
unless you want to do that. But if you don't, doing something that you want, but like doing what you want to do, even if it isn't aligning exactly the way that you thought it did, it's a lot better than doing some shit that you really don't want to do.
100%. 100%. Because your soul's never gonna be in it. Yeah. You gotta do things as long as they make sense.
Do you ever think you can do something else, like not in music?
Yeah, I could be a chef.
Really? You think so?
I could be a private chef. 100%. 100%. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. That's why I'm telling you, like, it's a blessing my mom didn't let me do that, because when she told me that, I had to pivot, and if I didn't pivot, I would have done that, because I love to cook. I ain't gonna sit here and act like I'm fucking Emerald Lagasse. I'm pretty nice, though. I'm pretty nice. I'm pretty fucking nice at cooking, and it's like, I could do that shit. And I've watched like thousands of hours of Chopped. So I'm in it, bro. I'm in it.
I ever told you that both my parents are chefs?
Yeah. That's so sick, dude. I love this. I want to chef up for them, dude.
Bro. That'd be sick.
I would love to cook for them.
No, literally, dude. You gotta cook for me, bro.
You named the time, bro. I mean, I know we were talking about doing it today, but we'll do it another day. But no, dude, I love cooking. I got my dad a sous vide for Christmas.
What's that?
Oh, dude. So that's the thing where you vacuum seal meats, vegetables, fish, anything in a bag, and then it's like this thing that you hook on like a big pot or like a basin or something. You fill it up with water, and it heats the water up to a temperature. It's basically like the idea of smoking stuff like low and slow, but it's in like heated water. So like we did a roast, right? We did a rib roast. So we sous vide that shit for like 12 hours. We took it out, and then we just like broiled the shit out of it in the oven real quick. That was fucking incredible, bro.
Watching your relationship with your dad from Instagram is my favorite thing in the world. You guys have a beautiful relationship.
Shout out Silver Fox, baby. I miss you. I miss you. Nah, dude, that's my dog, dude. He's tatted on me. Both my parents are tatted on me.
Let me see.
Yeah, so this is my dad and I. So my dad's a photographer, and one of my favorite pictures he took was of this tree in like this really cool space. It's like a portrait of this tree. Wow. So this is the tree, and he calls me Red Fox because I have a red beard. I'm not a ginger though. My hair's brown. My beard is the only thing that's red.
How does that even happen?
Genetics suck,
bro. That's crazy.
So anyways, so I'm the Red Fox. I call him Silver Fox because, he calls himself Silver Fox. He picked up me and my friend from school one day in high school, and my friend called him Silver Fox, and my dad just fucking died. And he was like, okay, call me Silver Fox. Oh my gosh. And like 13 years later, we're still calling him Silver Fox. So Silver Fox, Red Fox, and then my dad, like I said, he's done a million things. He's been a painter, he's been a photographer, he's done murals and stuff, trompe-l'oeil, all different kinds of art, but he's also a poet, and he's written like 2 or 3 poetry books. And this is a funny story. It actually wraps in my career. When I was at my first A&R job, and this is after the Lil Nas X thing, I was so beat down. I was so broke. I was making like $30K a year before taxes. I couldn't find my way. I was beat up to shit, and I didn't know what I was gonna do. I had a hard time paying my bills, and I needed something. I needed a breakthrough. I needed something to help me lift myself back up. And I remember I was crying. I'm in my room, and I just sit down on my bed. I look at my side table, and my dad's poetry book is sitting right there. And I pick it up, and I just open it to a random page. And on that page was just one sentence, and it said, "The road less traveled has more grip." And I thought about that. I was like, damn, the road less traveled has more grip. I don't need to do things the way that I think I need to do things. I need to go the way that I feel is right. I need to stand on my 10 toes. I need to stick with my morals. I need to trust my process. I need to fucking go and do that. And so for my dad's birthday, I got this tattoo as like a tribute to him. So this is the tree from my favorite picture of his, the red fox from me, the silver fox for him, and then the road less traveled has more grip right underneath it. Yeah, so shout out to Silver Fox. And I got my mom right here. This is when I was a baby, and she held me up. It's my favorite picture, my mom and I. And that's my first tattoo, where it's my grandparents and my parents' initials and stuff. And that was my first tattoo because my mom didn't want me to get a tattoo, and I was like, you can't be mad if it's like a family tattoo. It's like, so, a little cheat code. And then I got a bunch of other tattoos. So, that's beautiful, yeah, man. But yeah, man, I mean, it's just like, my parents are my best friends, and we didn't get that way till I moved out here. I was always close with my parents, you know, as anyone does. I argue with my parents. We had rough times and stuff, but like, you know, I call my parents twice a day. I call them when I wake up, and then I call them around when they're going to go to sleep. Every single day. Really? Every single day. Every single day. Same time, every single day. And it's, wow. Some people think that's extra, and I get it, but for me, it's not, you know, because it's like, they're my best friends, but I also think about it as like, there's going to be one day I can't call them at all. And the fact that I'm in a time in my life where I have both my parents and have a great relationship with them, and I can call them twice, I might call them 3 times a day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't take that for granted. It's not lost on me that it's a gift to have my parents this late in their lives and in my lives. So my parents aren't like super old or anything. They'd kill me if I was on here calling them old. I'm not calling y'all old, but you know, it's just a blessing to me that I have the relationship with them, and with my sister too. You know what I'm saying? I have a great family. I'm very grateful for them, and my niece and nephew. And like my niece and nephew, I got tattooed right here too. Just because during COVID, it was like I couldn't see them, and I missed. They were young, dude. It was like 3 years. That was half their fucking lives at the time. Yeah. You know, like wow. So it was like I hated just seeing them through a phone screen, and I just got them tattooed on me, so like they'd never be too far away from me after that. And so that's why I got them tatted on me. And now they just like, whenever I'm over there, they treat me like a coloring book, and they just like color it in with markers and shit. And like, yeah, I'm gonna get ink poisoning from this shit, but it's worth it for them. But yeah, man, family's like definitely the most important thing to me in life. And like, I don't know. It's definitely because of my parents that I have somehow ended up in music. My mom would sing so much to me as a kid, and my dad was always playing guitar. When I remember he had this acoustic guitar with the sticker on it. I forget what it was, but I think it was Coco Pelli, but it was really cool. And yeah, my parents were musical without really being that musical, and it was just their appreciation of it that was really instilled in me, and I just kind of carried that until it became something that consumed my life. So
I sometimes feel like people who aren't even into music can be the most musical, if that makes sense.
That's facts. Like, dude, I tried to rap once upon a time, dude. Like that, I wanted to make music. I was never any fucking good at it. That's how I got the Hef name, right? So
how'd it come from?
So my friends will call me Heavy D. My name's Dylan. I'm a little heavy. Naturally, I lost 80 pounds last year though, bitch.
That's fucking
but so
light D.
Yeah, we got to be light. We got to be medium D. Anyways, yeah. So I was Heavy D to my friends, obviously as a rapper, right? So there was one summer. Sorry, guys. Me and my friends, we all love smoking spice. Like, we fucking love smoking spice this one summer.
Spice is so, is that still around? Like,
hopefully not. But we smoked, because we were into hookah, and we went to the hookah store. We went to start selling
hookah, spice. Bro.
That's a whole other era of my life and shit. But dude, we were getting spice from the hookah bar or the hookah shop that we would get the hookah tobacco flavoring from, and we started smoking it because some people were like on papers that couldn't smoke weed, and they were getting high as shit from this. So before I was smoking weed, I was smoking spice. What? And so there was one summer we were going fucking hard, just ripping the bong with spice constantly, and we were like, dude, let's all be rappers. And I was like, yeah, it's a terrible idea. So we anyways, we were doing this stuff, and we all like had names and stuff, and they were stupid fucking names. And I was like, well, I can't be Heavy D, so I'm gonna be Hefty, like Hefty, but I'm gonna be Hef D. I can't even say it. I can't. It's so cringy and embarrassing. It's so bad, dude. Imagine explaining that to a girl. I've explained that on dates. Like, so why does everyone call you Hef? I'm like, I don't want to lie, but it's also like,
do you like will you like introduce yourself to a girl as Dylan or Hef?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If I meet them out in public, I usually introduce myself as Hef because
they don't know yet.
Everyone on the West Coast knows me as Hef. No one on this coast knows me as Dylan.
Whoa.
And so, yeah, because everyone I know here because of music.
Because you're post-Hef. Like when
exactly. Like, I had Hef before I moved out here.
That's an interesting thought. I guess everybody I know here for the most part knows me from music, but that's a weird thought. I've never actually like conceptualized that.
Yeah. And so, everyone on the East Coast knows me as Dylan. So, like, if we like on like my Bumble profile it says Dylan, but it's like if I meet someone out in public, it's usually not like under romantic pretenses. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm Hef, and yeah. So my girlfriend's never called me Hef though. I've never had a girl ever call me Hef, and if she knows me as Hef,
they just don't fucking it.
She starts calling me. I'm not calling you fucking Hef. And I'm like, whoa, like I didn't know this was like a bad thing.
How long do you wait to tell him?
I tell him upfront.
Imagine you're like a year of the relationship. My name's not Hef.
No, my Bumble profile is literally everyone calls me Hef. I work in music and I love T-Pain and Korean barbecue. The essentials. Like that's what you need to know about me, and you know that off rip. So now that being said, they never call me Hef.
Those are definitely like three of the main things I think about you. Yeah, like when I think of you, like those are for sure like three of the main things that come to my brain.
It's funny, man.
Where'd Stradamus come from? Hef Stradamus come from?
Well, it was just like Nostradamus. I was really into like there was like a time I was really into like shit like that because that was when I first started doing psychedelics, and like I was into like philosophy and conspiracies and like Nostradamus blah 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 da, da. And yeah, so
you went from Hef to Hef T to Hef D to Hef.
It was Hef D. It was never Hefty. Okay. I always stuck with Hef D, and Hefty was inspiration for that. And then I just went to Hef Stradamus because I was Heffy on Instagram for a bit, but everyone just called me Hef. But I couldn't get the Hef handle because this little Russian motherfucker wanted a Bitcoin for it, and I ain't got that type of bread, bro.
One day you will. You'll buy it.
No, one day I'm gonna get his fucking account shut down, and then I'm gonna get it, dude. He needs to be inactive for 700 days. I've talked to everyone. Yeah,
dude. Can you help me with that? Because at Above the Bridge, like is taken by an inactive account. I don't know how to get it like deactivated.
Yeah,
because we're at Above the Bridge _
There's certain people that have to do it. I haven't been able to do it myself, but like there's certain people that can do it. So I can hit one of them and ask them what the process would be.
That'd
like.
Be fire.
Sure. Yeah.
Because like this dude is like the actual at Above the Bridge account. It's not like they don't do anything. Like it's inactive, and it has been for like 4 years. Yeah.
I was like, how do you get this? How did this random guy with 200 followers get at Hef? Like how? Yeah. How was that not taken before?
Yeah. Like, it's just at HEF.
At HEF.
I wonder if you got that one. Like, I wonder how much you have to pay. Like he's at a Bitcoin.
He's at a Bitcoin, but this is back when it was like 10 grand. It's more than twice that now. Thing. So I was like, oh, dude.
Bro, one day you'll be up enough to just get it.
No, when I'll be up enough to fucking. Bro, it's funny though, because when I meet people, sometimes they be like, "Yo, like, you want me to get it for you?" And I'm like, I mean, sure. Like, what are you gonna do? And some people are like, "Oh, well, like, I can like hack their account and do this." I'm like, no. Well, recently, there was one guy who's like, "I mean, how bad do you want it?" I was like, kind of bad, but like, what are you gonna say? He's like, listen, I mean, I know a guy that can basically like put him and all his family members in a group chat and send them a picture of their house and be like, yo, change your name. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, no. That's fine. It's okay. I don't need it that bad. It's okay. Like, please don't do that. Like, don't forget to send anything. But yeah, no, I would never do anything like that, obviously. But it's just like, for branding's sake, for continuity. But
yeah, but you and your family members all in a group chat and sent you a picture of your family home.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. But I was like, thank you. No, thank you. You don't need to call that guy. You don't need to call that guy.
It's okay.
I really don't need it that bad. I'll be patient. But the Hef story is an interesting one.
That's
so
wild.
but also it's because I was sports writing still at the time, and I didn't know how they would feel about me doing music journalism stuff. Because like the sports journalism was so like button up suit type shit, and like this was like rap music that I was covering. So I used the Hef D pseudonym for all my music blogging stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then that's how it just came like my music identity. But then I just kind of warmed up to it. Like everyone called me Hef, and like
I like Hef.
Yeah, like because it's funny. I've been meeting all like everyone on the staff, obviously like a lecture and stuff. And this past week, one of the guys comes up to me, we're talking and stuff, and like somehow it comes up like Hef's not my real name. He's like, "Oh, what is your real name?" I was like, "Oh, it's Dylan," and he's like,
"I stick with Hef."
Nah, you're not Dylan. And I was like, you're Hef, dude. I was like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's how I feel, bro.
It's like, dude, when Hugh Hefner croaked, all me, bro. Like I took over the Hef.
Yeah.
No one thinks about that guy anymore. Like,
you 100% are the biggest Hef in the world.
Yeah,
like,
all right,
you got
well, watch out the big. I'm
the most prominent Hef in the world.
Yeah, no, I mean
the only Hef that matters.
It sticks out. It's a simple 3 letters. Everyone is like, if you know me, you know.
Yeah.
You don't forget. Oh yeah, because that's the other thing. I feel so bad. And like now I'm over here and oh Hef, yeah, I met you before, and I'm like, yeah, for sure, dude.
For sure,
and I'm like, dude, I'm such an asshole. I just eating too many edibles, honestly. Like that's really all it is, bro.
But also, bro, like so much of like being in the music industry is like you're at a show and somebody's like, yo, meet this person. You meet this person.
And it's all dark and shit.
Yeah, and it's just like I like it's not that I didn't enjoy meeting you. I just don't, I just forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm bad with names.
Yeah,
I'm bad with names.
I feel it.
Totally.
Hef, I love you, brother. You are a very amazing person. I love the way you look at the world. I love the way you like look at music, and I think you have great intentions, and I just think you're a great guy, man. So thank you for doing this. Long overdue.
Are we gonna kiss? Whoa, wait, where is this going, dude? Is this a setup?
Yeah.
No, dude, seriously, thank you so much. I'm really grateful. I've been a fan of your platform, obviously, since I found out about you. But
thank you, man.
Coming on this was low-key a bucket list thing for me, so I'm very appreciative that y'all having me on.
Well, thank you, brother.
I'm very grateful for y'all. Y'all are really doing some cool shit.
Thank you, dude. Thank you for being my friend.
Thank you for being my friend, bro.
Yeah.
For real. Are we good?
Real quick, tell them where they can find you, where they can follow you. Shout out some things.
You can find me at your local Korean barbecue, running amok. Past that, I don't know. Like downtown, probably. At a Korean barbecue place. No, I'm just kidding. I'd be at the office. I just work. Oh, you talking about? I'm so dumb. He's talking about social media. Hef Stradamus.
Why would I be talking about physical?
I don't know. I'm like, oh yeah, this is where we're going now. Yeah, for sure. I Hef Stradamus on everything, on Twitter, on Instagram. And yeah, if you can help me get at HEF on Instagram, I'll love you forever.
Tap in.
Totally. Tap inwards for sure. But
all right, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
All right, music matters.
Music matters.